Hello. Welcome everyone. Today, well, I guess for starters, I am Valgan. I do creation stuff for VR chat worlds and Unity tooling and all that good stuff. And today we are going to be continuing work on VRC Armory, the generic game mode builder that I'm doing, where it'll have lots of tooling for building out a game mode that you want, where you can make TTT, you can make murder, you can make any kind of thing like that is really the goal for that. Hi Neo, welcome. Today we're building out a lot of the tooling for how roles and teams work. So that's going to be a lot of predefined functions that they can perform. So this is what happens when spawn, this is what happens on death, and things like that. So we're going to be building out some editor tooling for that before we actually implement it into our game manager stuff. So as you see right now, I have kind of a hierarchy here of team manager, followed by innocents, and then innocents have detective and innocents, and traders have trader. So this is basically just the layout of Trouble in Terrorstown, or other things like that, like Werewolf or things like that. A lot of my reference for the structure of this system is actually largely built on my years of experience watching the Yogscast play Trouble in Terrorstown, which they've absolutely modded to crap. So one of the things that I want to do is kind of use that as a bar of how expandable and functional this system is. Now, don't get me wrong, Gmod TTT has almost 20 years of community development behind it. I'm not going to reach parity with that. But that is at least the thing that we are referencing for it. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is building out some editor tooling for matching stuff. Now, I'm putting this in a model behavior, but I'm thinking I'm actually going to put it into a scriptable object. So let's do a new C# script of team data asset. Pop that open. Copy our namespace. Team data. Oop, nope, this is a scriptable object. We already have team data asset here. All right, team builder. We're just gonna move this stuff over here. And since this is a scriptable object, we're going to give it the create asset menu, file name, team data, and menu name, VRC Armory / team data. Now, I have some custom classes here. Now, what we're going to do with that, though, is we're just going to have a public list of teams. And our team will have a public list, oop, if I can spell it all, of roles. We don't really need the prefix here. No, I'll keep the prefixes there. I realized yesterday I've put a underscore on a lot of my public methods, so people. Oh, I realized yesterday I have to put a underscore on a lot of my public methods, so people with funny programs can't network call them when I don't want them to. True. That is definitely the quick. All right, we want these public functions to not be called over the network. You can get a bit more control over that these days with the network callable attribute, where you can limit how many times it can be sent custom network event if you need it to be. But obviously, like. But yes, that is definitely the keep yourself from being screwed over option is very useful. All right, back in Unity. All right, let's change our team builder to be our team manager helper. And this is just going to have a public team data asset, team data. Now our team manager is going to have a require component type of helper, so that this helper is always on the same component as this. We're doing this and having this helper component because we're going to be using a lot of features that Udon doesn't support, and basically taking the result of that data and pumping it back into Udon. So there's going to be a little chicanery for this. Chicanery the right word? Is chicanery a word? I don't actually know that answer. Okay, so team manager. Since I did the require component thing, it doesn't have one by default, so I'll just add it manually, pop it up here. All right, now we need our team data asset. We haven't actually made one yet, so we do team data, and we'll make a VRC Armory team data asset. We'll just call this TD-TTT, or Team Data Trouble in Terrorstown. All right. So the first team will be Innocence, with the team color of green. Actually change the default on that. Oh, but it is green here. Because it just didn't get populated. The team roles will have... oh, this doesn't need a... This needs to not have a reference yet. And change role visibility to none by default. All right. So now we can go ahead and name this. We'll have detective, and detective will have a blue role, and role visibility will be all, because everyone will need to see that. And the other one will be innocent. I cannot spell innocent. Alright, we'll set that to be black and clear. That way, maybe I'll just have a bool or use custom color. Or bool, use role, use custom color. Then for detective, we'll check that on, and for innocent, we'll check that off. All right. Now we need to make another one of these, but instead of being innocents, this will be traitors, and this will be red. We will not have a detective role, traitors. We will simply have a generic traitor role. This role visibility will be team only. So only people on that team will be able to see the role above people's heads. Anything else that we want to build into this right now? I think this should be good to start. So now that we have this information, we're going to be bumping it into +1 like Brazil. Yo! Welcome, welcome. How is it going? We are doing some fancy tooling for getting our custom game modes working for VR chat. And right now it's honestly coming along pretty well. Mostly because we're in the part that I really know, which is the custom tooling. Roll color, yep. More combat, let's go. True, true. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're getting these team roles all set up. It's just going to be these kind of variables you put together and select from drop-downs for certain behaviors. So you'll have role visibility, that'll be like all team or none. So like the detective wants to be visible by all players, whether or not you're innocent will be visible by no players. And whether or not you're a traitor will be visible from people on your team. So the traitor team. I need some water. What? Wait for the next testing time. Yeah, I don't know if I will have a testable version of this done today. Probably not, honestly, because we're basically completely redoing how roles and teams are handled, and we'll have to build a game mode around that. That being said, we now have the storage data for the whole team. So we have the team data for our Trouble in Terrorist Town mode. Yeah, welcome. So this should get us basically everything that we need. Oh, right. The next thing that we need is on our team helper. So there we go. This is going to have to handle pumping in a bunch of data for the team manager. Well, no. That should be done by the game manager. Though realistically, the game manager is probably going to be the team manager anyway. Because what we want to do is we want to be able to control the frequency of different roles. Right now, what we've done is we've declared what all of our different roles are, but we want at least one detective. We want only one detective. We want at least one traitor, and we want everyone else to be innocents. That's our default implementation here. So we're going to add in that kind of automation for some of that tooling. So our team manager isn't going to handle that, I think. Maybe our team manager should handle that. Yeah, I think for now we'll put it here, and if we need to move it somewhere else, we absolutely can. So let's go ahead and figure out how exactly we're going to be doing that. So we're going to have a public class role frequency. Okay, so for reference, last time on Tuesday, I wasn't quite clear on where I was going to be going with this and what features I was going to be implementing. So I actually went through in Photoshop and just kind of sketched out words to figure out, okay, this is the intended result. We want out of 4 players, we need a detective, we need a traitor, and the other 2 will be innocents. And those will be aligned with specific teams. So team 1 and then team 2. So looking at that, I had to break it out to, we have 3 different roles we need. Detective, innocent, and traitor, which goes on to teams 1 and 2, which means we need 2 teams. Give me 1 second while I quickly toss that into Google Translate. My apologies. I'm just gonna do this quick. Google Translate. This is Oh, I see. You're asking them. Okay. This is all right. My apologies. All right. Yeah. So our role assignment is basically going to look like this. We're going to have special roles and we're going to have standard roles. So our special roles are basically required ones. So the detective will show up required 1, and the trader will show up require 1 for this default implementation. Now, others will have required 0, but a chance of 1 appearing as like a slider. And that's going to be a little bit of fiddling to get working. I think by default, we'll just do the numerical one, and then we'll add chances in later. So let's say we have a chance for an engineer who can like use some trader tools or something. There's like a 50% chance that they'll be in the game. That will probably be implemented not today because we have a lot to get through. But if we're just looking at this and that, I think we can go ahead and get working on this. So public class role frequency. This is going to, let's pull this up for reference. Yeah, so we're going to have a public team. Actually, no. We want a public. We want this to be a drop down that lets us select from different things. So I'll probably have to make a custom editor for doing that. But for now, we'll do public string team name. And just set that to be team A. Public uint, because we never want this number to be below 0. So we'll just make it not. Actually, no. We'll do int and then give it a min. A min of 0. Because some things are just easier to convert between ints than they are uints. So let's do that. Required equals 1. Yeah, so this will be special roles, or just special role. We'll serializable that. And we're going to have some additional stuff in the future. So we'll have a standard role here, which is just a string for now. But when we swap out these team names, then it'll be up and going. So we'll have a public list of special roles, and we'll have a list of standard roles. All right, so now if we look back in Unity, we'll see that we have a few more options showing up here as soon as it loads. Come on, there we go. Yeah, we got these fields here. So this is still showing team name. That needs to not be that. Role name. There we go. Okay. So we'll have detective required of 1, we'll have a trait for required of 1, and then standard roles innocent. And that will just be used to fill out the rest of the available roles. Now, this won't be a type in the name eventually. What I want to do is have a custom editor that lets this become a dropdown that selects from this team data. That is eventually. We won't be doing that today. Or we might be doing that today, depending on how this goes. But the idea here is I want all of this stuff to be parametric, so it's all controlled by numbers, which means that when you're in game, you can say, oh, our group has 30 people in it. 1 trader isn't enough. Let's bump that up to like 7 or something. And that's going to be a very easy change to make when you are actually in game for this. Or at least that is the design. So let's go ahead and go to our team manager. We need to pump all of this data into the team manager. So for right now, we have team entities and entity teams and entity roles, which are all individual objects. We no longer want to use this implementation, so I am simply going to delete these objects and then delete these scripts. Because effectively, we've completely replaced it. So go ahead, toss those out. And then our team manager is going to get a little confused because we just deleted a bunch of stuff, and we're going to clear that out. All right. So team data asset, bonk. Role visibility was in one of those files. I will fix that by having that be part of... Whoops, what I wanted to do. We don't need that open right now. We actually have a lot of things open that we don't really need at the moment. All right, so team manager. So this will have our public enum role visibility. All team none. There we go. So now that we have that back, we can go ahead and start making all of the arrays that this stuff is going to be pumped into. So we'll have a public string array for team names, public color array for team colors, and a public int array for team roles. Now, the reason that's a integer array and not an array of something else is because it's going to be an index looking up into our roles. So after this, we'll do a public string array of role name, this is plural, public bool array of use custom color. Actually, we might not even need that. We can probably just assign this value in... No, I like the idea of being able to customize colors more expansively in-game. So we'll keep this here for now. So public color role colors. And we'll do public role visibility. Alright. Role visibilities. I'll just misspell that so I can use my copy paste method later and make it easier on myself. Feels a little bit, but no one should be able to see this in the final build anyway. All right, so if we go back into Unity here, look at our team manager. We have all these things on here, and we need to pump this data in. Do we currently have a... We do not have a... Oh, okay. So we have an attribute for post-processing. Right. Okay. So in that case, we can just do that here. So basically, we're going to have a function that runs whenever our whenever the project builds the scene. So when we enter play mode or when we do a build and test for VR chat, this will always run. So we'll do public static void, or no, we'll do a public void process data. We'll do post run on, what was it called? This is just post-process scene attribute? No, that's attribute, post-process scene. This is finding mono behaviors. Oh, I see. Okay, we don't have a post-process scene attribute. Right. I understand what's happening here. Alright, this is some manual handling for some other stuff, so we'll have to do this separately. If Unity... So, if Unity editor or and compiler udon sharp. So put that here, static. All right, that's in Unity editor callback, so we need to give that our wrap here. All right, so since this is static, we now actually have to find all instances of these things. We'll probably only have one, but we'll make sure to do it for all in case something happens. So team manager helper. Helpers equals find objects by type. Team manager helper. We'll give that 2 values. We will include inactive objects and we'll sort by none because we don't care. Then for each of our helpers, we need to go ahead and convert this data into the team manager data. I'm going to dock this down here just so we can see this a bit as well. Yeah, okay. Move everything around here. Alright, so for each helper, we're going to validate that 2 things exist. We will have our team manager equals helper.get component team manager. Oop, if I can type. So if manager does not exist, continue. So I'll just go to the next helper. Next, we want a reference to our team data asset. Data equals helper.teamData. And then if data is not valid, continue. The reason that we want to make sure that there's no null or errors that can occur during this is post-process scene. If this callback fails, so if something happens in it and there's an error that happens, it stops the build. It immediately leaves play mode and gives you an error, which is nice when you're debugging things. But if an error ends up being caught in production and someone who didn't develop the code is using it, it can be a bit more of an annoyance than help. So we want to make sure that our checks are very much in place for this. All right, so we are going to basically build lists for all these things. So let's go here. Swap this with list greater than. Swap all of our brackets with less than. And our int will still be an array. All right, make those all of new. So now we will loop through our teams and roles. So for each data.teams, just call it team names.add team.team name, and basically this is where we start doing our copy paste. Now you see we can't actually do this because team roles isn't a value on this. It's a list. So this is where we have to do our indexing. So we need to make a list of int team role IDs equals new. Now for each of our team roles, there we go. So for each role, we actually, okay, yeah. We want team role IDs. We're gonna have to have a cache int for this, so int role ID index equals -1. I think just leaving that at 1 is probably fine. Team role IDs dot or add role ID index plus. So this basically lets us know what the index is of this specific role that we're putting in, because the roles are tied to teams here. So let's go ahead and do our role names dot add role name, and we, what are these? Yeah. Do role color, and then role visibility, append all that in. And team roles, we will add in role IDs dot toArray. And then after all of this, we're going to go to our manager and set all of these values. So manager.teamNames equals teamNames.toArray. And I'm just going to duplicate that a bunch because we're going to be copy pasting. This is one of the things that I liked about the setup. That needs to be plural. Full visibilities. Okay. Now, since we don't actually want this helper, we can go ahead and just remove it during play mode. So destroy helper. So let's go ahead and see how that's working. Basically, we want to make sure that this data is actually being pumped over into our team manager. Once Unity compiles. There we go. All right, so we have zeros for everything, but we have our special role declaration up here, which we don't care about yet, but we just want to make sure that all of this stuff is being pumped into these arrays. So let's hit play mode and see what happens. All right, well, we did get an error, but that is a completely different thing. What we didn't have issues with was our team manager. We have all of these things here. Perfect. Yeah, all, none, and team, blue, black, and black, custom color 1, trader, colors, names. That's all working. Nice. Okay, so we can go from there and what do we want to do next in that case? Well, I guess we can go ahead and fix this error we were getting. So lobby.get player names update list. Was there something that broke here? This text. So this text no longer has a reference to a lobby because there isn't one in the scene. So game lobby. So just call this game lobby. Sign references. Bing bang boom. All right, let's see if that's still an error here. Okay, all good. Can't remove that because the script depends on it. True. Okay. In that case, I'm going to change it. So instead of the instead of this require componenting of it, we are going to do another if unity God, I cannot spell unity editor and compiler on sharp is false. We're going to do a unvalid private freaking my autofill. Come on, come on. Oh, I see. It's happening out. Right. Okay. This needs to actually happen inside of the script. So, unvalidate. In here, we're going to get a helper from get component helper. And if helper is null, we will do GameObject.add component team manager helper. So this will just force a component onto this without having a require attribute. The main reason that we're deleting it when we're done with it is that when you load into a VRChat instance, all of those scripts that couldn't actually be uploaded just kind of show up as an error in your log. And that's just a clean way of having that not be an issue. So I'm going to copy this component and remove it. Now, you see there's not one on here currently, but if I click it back on Okay, well, it eventually shows up. It would naturally show up when you add this on, so. This value is back. All right. Ah, right. I forgot that Thursdays are one of the days where there's music outside in the park, which I always like. But it is, let me know if it's coming over the stream. All right, so team manager, let's go ahead and actually start working with this data. So, can't hear it? Awesome. Happy to hear. Let's have a implementation of how do we want to start with this? Okay, so let's look at our Photoshop display again. So we want our role assignment to work based off of requiring these roles and then filling the rest of them with this. So let's figure out exactly how that assignment is going to happen. For this, I'm largely scrapping the old game systems that we were doing. So like we have game system old. This one's just called Team Deathmatch game system, and I'm going to, yeah, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is have a bit more explicit stuff for the handling. Okay, so we're going to how do we want to do this? We want to build in references for what roles that we need to fill. This will determine what teams are available, and we're going to have an array of role IDs, and we're going to have an array of team IDs. So when we have that, we can go ahead and the reason that we need team IDs is that we want to basically have an action of like when one team remains, end the game. And that's going to be basically our function for that. So let's see. Base game system, we have our start game, we have our end game. We need a assign roles system. So that'll be, I guess our team manager will be doing that, but our game manager is the one that has to declare that it's happening. So better generated data so that we don't actually care about it. So let's just, instead of having everything assigned and everything to players, we'll just have our system assert we have 10 players, fill in these IDs for 10 players. So we'll have public int player IDs. Player role IDs. Region generated data. So I can go ahead and stick all this here and never worry about it again. So player role IDs. We're going to want to how do we want to handle this? we're going to start by having a public void test assign IDs. Now in here, we're going to look at our data and name roles, role colors. Oh, I feel like we're missing. Yeah. Okay, so we're missing some information from our helper, which is our special roles and standard roles. So let's go ahead and actually flesh that out a bit. So in our helper here, we need to actually shove this data over here. So we'll have a public, I guess since we're working with strings right now, we'll just keep using strings. Special roles, special role names, and the special role counts. Yeah, we can change this from required to be count. Role count, yep. And that'll be a integer, and this one for just our standard ones. It might make more sense to use IDs instead. So yeah, we'll swap that to IDs. Okay. So when we're pumping this data over, we're going to need a few more lists here, which will be a string, special role IDs. This one will be an int for special role counts. And our list of string for standard, there we go. So once this team set is handled, we need to go ahead and do a for each data dot what would that be? Oh, we don't care about data. We want for each helper dot special roles. There we go. And we'll do our, I guess just to keep things organized, I'll move these down here. Special role IDs dot add, and from here we are going to do team names dot index of role dot role name. Okay, yeah, since these are IDs, we'll do ints as well. So roll count, we'll do just do roll dot roll count for special roll counts. And then for standard role IDs, we'll do the same thing. Team names, role, dot. Wait, okay, so we're gonna have to do. Oh, yeah. Okay, so duplicate this one. Standard And we don't care about counts because standards are just ones that autofill. We'll do manager dot special role IDs equals special role IDs dot to array. All right, int. There we go. Duplicate that 3 times. Paste and paste. All right, so now we have the role IDs and the stuff that we're actually going to be using for this. So let's do a test ID assignment. And since this has to have an udon, since it has to be user customizable, that's going to limit a little bit of our customization options. It's going to be a little annoying. All right, so we'll just do int player count equals 10. Just assert that for now. There are 10 players. We need our player role IDs, which is our active ones, to equal a new int that is 10 long. From there, we need to first look at our special role IDs and see their role counts to determine which ones need to actually be assigned. So for int special role IDs dot length, int ID equals special role IDs I, and we'll do special do int insert index, which is just going to be start with that. So we need to insert X amount of that, so this will be special role counts I. We'll say player role IDs I equals ID. No, we want insert index here. Then if insert index is greater than equal to special role IDs dot length, break. ID index, and this will be count number. Count number is stupid. Just have that be I. PKPD, who handles the game state? That will be a game manager who is just largely just going to be the person who's the instance owner, not the instance owner, the master of the instance. Not really a whole lot more to handle there, especially since we can pretty easily declare data from any user. We don't need to go shifting ownership around too much. And since it's all going to be synced data at the end, new users will just load in and see the current game state and generate it fresh from there. And nothing will be lost when when the game owner leaves, because it just gets transferred over. I want this check in here as well. Then we'll do another one down here. So while bootstrap is terrifying. While insert index is less than, let's have a int. Okay, yeah. While insert index is less than player count, we will all right, let's get a int ID equal, we need to grab out of the standard role IDs with unityengine.random.range 0 new int standard role count. Stick that in there. Oops. Okay, so this randomly grabs a ID that is from the standard roles, appends it in, and then increments inset index. So I think from here we can run our test. So this is our generic version of implementing all of our IDs that we need to assign. So let's look at this. So this is going to be 0. If we hit play mode, this will start up. It'll convert a bunch of stuff over. Now we run test assign IDs, and crap, everything's -1. All right, so let's look at our IDs. Special role counts, yeah. So our indexes here are in fact getting us empty stuff. So let's look at our team names. We have innocence, that role names, detective, innocent, and traitor. Is it because we're doing, oh yeah, we are looking for roles in the team names, which, yeah, that would be our issue. Swap that to be role names and head back into Unity. Again, go again. You know, I'm looking at my stream and I see the little combat system for VR chat thing on the bottom left. It's making me realize I don't think I changed that when I was working on NPCs the other day. Oh well. Test assign 0, 2, 1. Awesome. We have successfully filled the entire thing with the required roles and then the filler roles for the rest of them. So if we go and say we need 2 traders and we have a second standard role, which is Mike. We just have another role that's called Mike. Mike. Sure. And everyone knows who Mike is. He's got that teal thing going on right now. Use custom color. Yep. All right. Go back to team manager. Hit play. Need some water here. All right. So yeah, we have our detective, innocent, Mike, and everyone. Test assign IDs. All right. So traitor is ID 3 in this. So we assigned our detective, we assigned our traitor, and then everyone is either a Mike or an innocent. Pretty 50-50. 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. Yeah. That is exactly 50-50. Oh, is this setting up so you can have NPC fight alongside? Yes, actually. I haven't implemented the NPCs with this stuff yet, but right now we do have just kind of generic capsules that are other player entities. One of the things that lets you do is you can have pretty complicated NPC systems that like fight alongside or fight against the players, or they can be as basic as literally just a target dummy, and all the players have to shoot all the target dummies before the time's up. So that's one of the gameplay implementations that you can do with this, because you can have complex NPCs, or you can have a literal board of wood NPC. So yeah, all of our role assignment IDs are collected correctly. I like that. So you can have NPC healers that are worse than Donald Duck from Kingdom Hearts 2. Yes, you can in fact do that. Alright, so we're pumping all of our data in correctly. We're grabbing our special roles and we're grabbing our standard roles, and everything's being set correctly. We'll change this to be roles to assign. And we'll have this be private. Serialized field _R. So now we're going to have these roles, and we're going to let's see. Yeah, we generate this array of roles that will be assigned, and then our game manager will take this, assign it to the players, and do that. So instead of test assign IDs, we'll do get IDs for team, and we'll pass in int team get IDs for game, and pass in an int of player count. So we'll check here if player count equals 0, player count equals 10, just for our testing purposes. So this will return int array. So down here we will return roles to assign. Now we can go ahead and use this in a game manager. So let's go. We'll get rid of this. We don't actually care about those things. We want to get all of the players that are from the lobby and then pump stuff in. Okay, yeah, that works. All right, just for the moment, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. It's 1 hour into the stream, so make sure everyone gets a little stretch break and get some water, and I will be right back. I am back. All right. When we left off, we got our get IDs for game set up. So we can go ahead and use that in our game manager, or game system. But our game system needs a generic way of trying to start a game. So in start game here, we're going to do a few things. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to set into initialization. Do we want to do that? Or do we just want to... Yeah, I don't think we need the initialization state. We can drop that. Because everything's basically going to be run here as the game owner. So, start game. We're going to get our int array, assignable roles equals... oh, we need a team manager up here, so team manager, there we go. Team manager. So that'll be underscore team manager dot underscore get IDs for game. And we'll do that after grabbing the players needed for start. Display list, yep. Player left. So we need a way to get players from lobby. So wait, how is this handled? This player in lobby, get player account, get player entities. There we go. I just hid it under a thing. So data list, player entities equals lobby get player entities. So is this getting all of them? Or just whether or not someone is in the lobby? Display list is get player names. Yeah, okay, because all entities and all entities list are... They're just storing everything, but player IDs is what stores whether or not someone is in the lobby. I'm going to actually rename that to be a bit more clearer. So lobby player IDs. I'm never sure if I want to spell it capital I, capital D, S. That's the way I like doing it, but all other implementations I've seen, lowercase is the D. Like for getting a player's ID from VR chat, it's lowercase d for the player ID. So, I don't know. I guess I should just be consistent. Alright. So we don't want this list. We want our game system, player entities, get IDs for game. So int player count equals player entities dot count. Toss that in here. That returns us our int of all of our assignable roles. And now we can iterate through our player entities. I'm going to write this out into a private function here. So we'll go down here, private void assign player roles. Pop up there, call it up here, assign player roles. So in here, we're going to iterate through all these player entities and give them their corresponding role. So for int I player count, we're going to grab a armory entity. Entity equals player and player entities I dot reference, and then we cast that as a player entity. Now how do we assign a role to this? Set role ID. Okay, so we'll do entity dot set role ID, assignable roles I. But if we do this, it's just going to be the same person's detective every time. So we're going to have to shuffle this, which I think is fine. Yeah. Utilities.shuffle array, assignable roles. And this doesn't return anything. Yeah, it just refs into that. Okay. So this will randomly assign the roles there. Then we want to go ahead and go into our game mode. Yeah. All right. So actually, let's start in init. If is owner, return, and then we'll flip this. So if this person is the owner, we're gonna run it from unset into the lobby state. Set state. Was that not what I called it? Oh, assign game state. Let's just do that there. Set game state lobby. And we don't want to start the game if we're not in the lobby state. So if game state, or I just call that state. Yeah, I just call it state. So if state does not equal lobby, return. So we'll assign player roles. Then I think we can just go ahead and go into the pre-round. So set game state pre-round. Yeah. All right. So let's see if we can get this to work. It's pretty sudden restart of our music. Oh well, this is... Alright, so we'll hit play. Oh wait, we have a bunch of things we need to fix. Right. We don't even have our game manager in the scene. Alright, game manager. or game system. And I guess the TDM one is the only one that's inheriting from it right now. There's nothing going on, so it's just our good one. Lobby, team manager, state unset. So we'll go into play mode here. We'll walk up into this. Wow, that instantly errored. Oh, because this doesn't have a reference to our lobby. Right. Yeah, okay, we need to fix a lot of our lobby references because I deleted the demo one. Okay, and demo start game. This will be not game system basic old, this will be base game system. I'll move that over here so we can actually click it while we're in the lobby. So, alright. What was our first error? Object reference not set to instance of object. Oh, freaking right. Alright. All of our references should be good now. Let's go into play mode. Let's see what happens. It should start a game with effectively just me. Two errors. Alright, what is this? Our team manager. Index was outside bounds of the array. And object reference was not set to instance of object. I guess that's because it returned a null array. Alright, I guess this length check has to be a -1? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. It's just a little off by one error. Alright, this one. Object represents is object for armory player. Base entity role. Right, because the armory players are expecting the old role system. So those are going to have to be updated here. Let's go to our player example. So this here is an armory player, which inherits from armory entity. So it has all the armory entity features. What we don't care about is the role. We can drop that entirely. Role manager, what is this the old role manager? Yes, so toss a big old onto that so that we aren't using that one. Alright, so we'll do team manager. Team manager, entity role, hero ID. Okay. We don't really care about that, so drop that. Spawn entity. So entity role. Let's spawn this. How do I want to do this? Because we're gonna have to set how our characters behave in certain situations based on yeah, okay. So if we want some player, like one team to spawn over here and another team to spawn over here, we have to give them some transforms for that. So we'll do a... Yeah, let's go to our team manager. Go to our assets. How do we want to do? Yeah, so since this is on a scriptable object, maybe this will just be better for us to have as part of the actual script itself instead of a scriptable object. Heyo, welcome Lumi. How is it going? How do it go? Alright, let's grab our helper here. Did pretty good. Not much to comment on today, though. Yeah, understandable. Gotcha. Alright. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be shifting around here. For now, I'll just comment on this out. Color assignment. That should be good for now, so that will get us the copying over for the stuff so that we can put in our spawn positions and stuff. Once it compiles. There we go. Alright, teams, copy, team manager, teams, paste. Okay, so in that case, I think I should go ahead and just drop the team data thing here. Go to our automation, teams. Helper.teams, and that should be good. I can stick this stuff down here. So we have all these in place. Let's go ahead and just comment out this whole thing. Come in here. We don't need these. Oops. All right. So these values should stay. They're the same thing, probably, technically. Come on, compile. Yay, okay. So all that stayed correctly. So let's go ahead. We have our innocent, we have our mic, we have our special roles for here and here. Yeah, so yeah, let's swap this around a bit. Our standard role. Okay, so our special role will inherit from standard role. Means we can drop our role name here. But you can also do things such as do a public transform array spawns. So let's go ahead and go to our automation. Team manager, you are going to need some role spawns. Actually, yeah. No, maybe that is better to have as part of the. Okay, well, let's undo a bunch of stuff we just did. All right, leave that on. Swap back to our team asset. And then we can go back to inheriting from this for our scene-specific customization. So we'll have our public transform array spawns. Role spawns, sure. And from there, we need to pump that info into our team manager. So yeah, I think we can append that here. So special role, standard role. Where do we want to put this? I guess we can put it here. It'll effectively be part of the base information, but it's going to be part of our individual implementations for this, since it's coming off of our data asset. So do public transform array role spawns. And let's make a converter for that. Role spawns. Effectively be this, so role spawns is role spawns. No, I don't want to do it like that, actually. Maybe if okay, so let's look at Photoshop here again. What I've been doing is manually splitting these out. So this is the standard section, and this is the special section. I wonder if I should just combine these for saying, yeah, maybe we should have a drop down for, it will be like a require count, percentage chance, or fill empty. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Public enum role assignment type. exact count, percent chance for fill empty. So now, instead of having our special role, just have game roles. So role name, yep, that'll be selected through a drop down up here. We have yet to build. Role spawns. Maybe role assignment type should be. We don't want it part of the base stuff because that's something that we want to be able to change in game. To just give people the ability to say like, oh, I want detectives to only show up every 20% of games and stuff like that. So that'll be part of this instead of the base asset. Right. Public role assignment type equals exact count. All right, so we'll have a public int for exact count, have a public float for percent chance, and we won't need anything for fill empty. Backing data, and then modifiable parameters. Though realistically, role spawns won't be modifiable. It just has to be down here because it's not part of our scriptable object, since that's going to live on its own. It needs to be part of a scene because that declares where they spawn. Unless I want to have like a object reference for this is what a spawn is, and it can have its own parameters. I think for now, having a bunch of transforms is just a good starting point. We can expand out how player spawns work at a later time. So let's go ahead and pump more of this stuff in. I guess if we're doing our role visibility over here, we should probably have our role assignment type over there as well. Okay, so we'll do game role IDs, game role counts, game role spawns. Game role exact count. Okay, so we can move that one down here. We can do game roll percent chances. There we go. And then we need game roll assignment types. Toss that there. Let's go into our builder for everything. Our exact chance and everything. Change this up. Our special role IDs will be game role IDs. Game role exact count. Whoops. Game role exact count. Yeah, okay. Exact counts. We need our spawns. We need a few things. Alright. We'll start copy pasting things in. Save that, immediately break everything. It's... Alright. So let's go through our helper.game roles. Game role IDs, don't add. That grabs index of the role name because that's just what we're using right now. We do game role spawns.add role dot scroll spawns. Assignment type. Assignment type. Exact chance. The exact count. Exact count. Sorry. 10% chance. Wow, I keep typing change instead of chance. So much so that the autofilled in me typing it's wrong, like, was right. That'll be a flow. Alright, so a few times. It's fun to do this up here. Base team data. And we can do a region here. Role data. All right. So now that we have that information pumped over to our script, we can go ahead and fix our ID system. Can I duplicate this tab? Split right. There we go. So now I can look at the top and the bottom for it. So we want to look through all of the required ones first. We'll do a percent roll on all of our percent chances, and then fill in all remaining data with the others. Excuse me. So we'll just do a int game role count. All right, ID index. So this is going through all the game roles. We need to take this, this ID. We're no longer going through all the special roles. I guess we're going to do 3 different loops here, which is going to be a little annoying. Oh, it might even be doing 4 with power. Okay. I guess for now, we'll just kind of push all this down and just work from up here from scratch. So we need to assign in game roles based on their assignment type. So data list. Where is this? Okay. Exact count roles. Data list. And we'll have percent chance roles, then fill empty roles. For I, we're going to loop through our game role count number. If all visibility, I guess we switch this. Role visibilities I. Debug log warning. Visibility or yeah, probably not implemented enough for an error log there. Oh wait, that's role visibility. I don't want that. Game role assignment types. There we go. So add role IDs I. We'll do percent chance roles and fill empty roles. So this will populate these lists. Now, in order to fill out everything for roles to assign, we need to loop through again. So for my game role count, or no, I guess we're doing this dot count. I guess our percent chances should have a range 0 to 100. I'm actually curious if that just works as part of the editor. Because that's an attribute that normally goes on an actual variable, so like a float. But I'm putting it on the array for the floats. So I'm curious if that works. I would like it to. Be really nice. We renamed stuff, so we don't have the existing roles anymore. Percent chance. Oh wait. Actually, we don't care about putting it there. We want it in our team manager helper. There we go. So we don't worry whether or not it's on that. Our exact count, though, should have a min of 0. We don't want a negative number of roles that are placed in a thing. Alright, I'll just quickly rebuild some of this data here. as soon as it recompiles. There we go. I guess, okay, yeah, I don't have to rebuild everything because most of it's stored there, and it's this stuff that changed. So, role name, we want detective. Actually, I wonder how much of this stuff we actually want to be. Because we could easily put the percent chance. Well, no, we want this to be a lot, like a bank of these variables. We don't actually want to be declaring what to do with them here. So we're going to separate those things over here. All right, so roll spawns just, I don't know, this for now. This doesn't need to be anything. So this will be detective, the exact count of 1. Innocent will be fill empty. Traitor will be exact count of 2. And what's the other one? Mike. Oh yeah, I just made a Mike one. That was it. And then we need one for Mike. That is a percent chance of 50. 50-50 chance you got a Mike with you. How does it feel knowing that there might be a Mike somewhere out there? Okay. So with that, we have those numbers right. We got that slider working. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what we came in here to test. That was it. All right. So we need to loop through our exact count rolls. So that isn't supposed to be inset index. That's supposed to be insert index. All right. We are going to go through exact count rows. Okay, we need an int id equals exact count roles I.int. We are going to take this and we need a let's see here. Int id index is role IDs index. What am I doing here? Role ID is I. Okay. This music feels particularly mocking. All right, so how do we want to do that? Because we have our exec count roles. We're popping in the role ID there. So I think for brevity, it might make sense to do game role count? Yeah, okay. I think I really should just put in the I here. How about it? This is great. Thanks for sharing it. Yeah, thanks. More than happy to show off stuff I'm working on. Yeah, I'm currently working on a bunch of this stuff for this game mode system, and I'll admit it's slowing down a little bit. Granted, we have like 8 minutes left before my normal stream end time, and I probably won't even have it compiling by the end. But I'm glad this is entertaining for you people. I'm glad that people have been getting some stuff out of this. I know the game mode stuff is a little bit more code heavy than when I was making the guns work and just going around shooting NPCs, but excuse me. Yeah, okay, so these are the indexes that we're doing. Alright, so I don't need to do the lookup there. So now that I have this index, we are going to use that to add it in to the roles to assign. But we do it for, I guess it's J for now. Exact count index. Yeah, okay. We're gonna go ahead and say roles to assign insert in I can't type. Insert index will equal ID? Yeah, game role IDs index, and then we do insert index plus plus. And we duplicate this and change a bunch of it because we're about to do the percent chance rolls. It still needs to be an index. Okay. We want to Alright, I have a number 0 to 100. And I basically want an over-under on that. So alright, Unity engine range 0, 100. Int roll chance roll. It sounds like Falcon. I'm uncertain what that is. Let me see here. Let's see. We're 5 minutes from the end of this. It might be Kuruma de DS. It also might be Sophisticated Fight from Trails in the Sky Sora de Kisekai FC, which might be. The playlist that I listened to timestamps the first half of the video, and then the second half of the video is a repeat of the first one, which means I don't actually have timestamps for what song we're currently listening to for the second half of it. Yeah, I guess it would be that. Nice guess, then. Or nice catch, I guess. Alright, so if chance roll is less than or equal to percent chance rolls index. Wait, no. Alright, we'll do, if it's greater than that, continue. And if not, do this. Okay. And down here we will while loop. I should always start with me. But while insert index is less than player count. Insert index plus. And before that, we'll do int index engine.random.range 0, and we want fill empty rows. Int result index this, so I don't have to stick that there. Alright, so now I can go down here, get rid of this. Okay. We're at the end here, so let's step through what we got. Get IDs for game takes in the player count. The player count is 0 for my testing. It just takes 10. Rolls to assign gets changed to a new int array that is the player count length. Game roll count is the count of how many rolls we have, which I guess only gets used once, so I can just put it here instead. Insert index, which is the index that we're inserting into rolls to assign, is established here at 0. And we make a data list for exact count rolls, percent chance rolls, and fill empty rolls. Exact count rolls, we want a very specific number of that specific roll inserted, so we want that done first. Percent chances is a roll of the dice to see if it works. And fill empty just fills in all the rest of them with those rolls. So first, we populate all of these arrays. So we iterate through our game roll assignment types, and if it's exact count, if it's percent chance, if it's fill empty, we put it into the right spots. Then we for loop our exact count rolls. We get an int of that for the index, and then exact count rolls index there. Yeah, so if this is 2, let's say we require 2 traders. This will loop twice and put in game roll ID's index, which is our trader index, into rolls to assign insert index and then +1. After that, our percent chance ones, we grab the current int for the index that we're working off of for this. Then we do our, we loop through all of the ones that we have for game roll exact counts at index. Which we don't want to do. That's incorrect. So what this did up here was it stepped through all of the counts for it. And we don't want that here at all. In fact, we don't need this loop. All right. Yeah, there we go. This is why I stepped through all this stuff verbally. It's to make sure everything's making sense. All right. We have our index for which percent chance roll we're on. Our chance roll is just a roll that we do from 0 to 100. Hello, nice to see you stream. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I'm actually just finishing up here. Sorry for the poor timing, but we've gone for 2 hours, and I'll be shutting down here pretty shortly just to get some food. But I'm just kind of verbally stepping through all the stuff that I just did to make sure it all makes sense. Right now, we're handling how role assignment gets done for the combat games. So if you're a detective, if you're an innocent, if you're a trader, or something like that, it assigns them based on these systems. We've looked through the exact count limitations. We're peeking through our percent chance rolls here. So let's say we have a 7% chance to get a roll. You need to roll between... actually, I'll make this 1 in 100 so that if you set your percent chance to 0 over here, it'll just never occur. At least I can tell you that myself. Learned a lot from your videos and for your projects and direction. Yeah, thanks. I definitely want to do some more tutorial videos. My stuff's kind of been very weird schedule-wise as of late. The additional of streams has kind of given me a bit more grounding to how my week actually works, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, I'm really glad this helped. Then here at the end, while our insert index is less than player count, we grab the int of a random index inside of our fill empty rolls, and we get the result int from that, and we assign that in. So we just randomize in from our fill empties to populate the rest of them. Okay. Get IDs for game. Let's go ahead and we'll just hit the button to run that event and make sure everything's working as expected. So, if all goes according to plan, we will have 1 detective, we will have 2 traders, we 50-50 will have a mic, and the rest of them will be innocents. So, if I hit play, should be able to scroll down and hit that button. Get IDs for games. Alright. 0, 3, 1. Alright. So that would make sense because 0 is detective. Trader would be 3. And then 1 would be innocents. So if we go back to Team Manager and run it again. Ah, there we go. After 3 hits, we got 1 mic in our game. Awesome. Holy crap, it's actually working. Oh, all right. All of our ID generation is working as expected. Now, like, obviously this breaks here, because, well, what actually did break here? Oh, is this one of our off by ones? Actually, which of these values did break? Index was outside of bounds of the array. Okay, so is this index going into game role IDs? Game role IDs is given a player count, so it's just 1. Okay, so I just need to break out of these if this is ever a player count. If insert index is greater than or equal to player count, break. Just pop that at the start of every loop. Though I guess it doesn't technically, we don't need it in our while because that is the determination for the while. All right. Last task, Unity, compile. I hit play. I walk into that box. I hit the green button. There's no errors. That is our goal. It's finally in sight. Oh, no errors. It all worked. Granted, since there's only one player right now, it's just assigning me the detective role and nothing else. Let's just spawn in a bunch of test fellas. All right, test fellas. Y'all are getting moved right over here. So now if I click back to this, I guess for some reason they're not triggering entering the lobby. I think the lobby handling is local. Add player to lobby. Okay, this is called... Yeah, this is a network event that's called via this, which I probably want to swap. Yeah, okay, this handling will have to change. To do change to be not networked. Have the owner observe. There we go. Yeah, we'll have the owner observe the collisions there, but we still want this to be networked in the event that we want a button for joining and leaving the lobby, instead of just being a collider region, which is very common in VR chat. But yeah, this is actually all working. Oh, that is so much further than I actually expected to get today. We not only have our roles and our teams working completely, we have a bunch of tooling for doing it too. Man, it really goes to show you what just like writing out the thing that you want to have happen, like how much it actually helps do the thing that you're trying to do. Like, even if what we have here is effectively not what I implemented because of the layout on everything. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah, thanks. Awesome. Well, I think with that, majority of programming is typing at 6. Yeah, that's my problem. My ability to think is spontaneous. We'll put it that way. But yeah, it was really nice today. It was good seeing everyone. Unfortunately, we don't have a test version to distribute to the patrons after this, but I'll probably get some time in on some different spots to get a little bit more tooling in for some stuff and see if we can get a go and stop. Though realistically, getting a full game started will probably be a large task on its own and probably worth for another stream. I know I've been doing every other week for NPCs versus this, but I think we'll probably do this again next week. I think that would make sense. Yeah, it will probably make sense to work on this next week so that we can have a more completed project that I can put on Patreon and have people make use of. Well, my apologies for going a little bit over today, but yeah, it was great seeing everyone, and I look forward to catching everyone next week. All right, until then, see you around.